I think there's always a fascination about how did the marketer get to a point where they're driving an ad agency. And I said, actually, it's probably the boss job, purely because I can beat the system from outside for the marketer. There's no prioritization. If you need that website done, I figure out a way to beat the internal system. So that's the wonderful thing about being a marketer on the inside as an ad agency. But more importantly, the commercial hat that we as marketers have to wear on a daily basis when we review creative and actually decide, does this make sense practically for a business, as opposed to it's a wonderful piece of art. And that's the differentiation, and that's what helps me. So today I'm really going to talk about how it takes a village to deliver a customer experience. For me, customer experience, it's an everyday. We are doing it every day naturally. But sometimes we tend to think that it's something that's alien and out there, but as human beings, we're actually doing it every day, teaching our kids to engage it. One of the beautiful things about customer experience is that as human beings, we wear so many different hats. That's part and parcel of what forms us as human beings, to have our certain thoughts, our values, our mindsets. So I personally have many different hats, and I don't have it on, but it's virtual. I'm a daughter to my parents. They know that I'm still somebody's child. I'm Makoti, so I'm married, and I'm married into a family where I am somebody who's got a particular name and identity that my in-laws see me as. I have my 4 other siblings. We're all different human beings, and that also contributes to me. I'm a mom, I'm a husband, I've got my husband as well, and then I'm also a boss lady as well. So every other moment there's a different thing that I have to put on, but it comes naturally to me. And as human beings, all of us actually live through that, and that's part and parcel of what forms our value system that's critical when it comes to customer experience. So as human beings, one of the things we walk around, and Barbara and Mark have actually touched on it, something that it's our one big goal in life. This one thing that we actually search for, we want to live, feel, eat, breathe in, is happiness. And I want to demonstrate a campaign that actually took happiness to the next level and properly demonstrated it through marketing initiatives. The wonderful thing about this campaign, I think when Coke was basically turning about 100 years old, and this was the big campaign they launched globally. So this was some of the experiential marketing campaigns they actually ran. But I think this is the most brilliant thing you can do as a marketer, where you say, my campaign sits on this, how inside this bottle, this commodity I give you delivers this happiness, which Mark unpacks the emotional connection, and being able to display it through your experiential marketing, through your digital. This is it. Like, for me, this is a Laureus Award 100 times. And that basically leads me to that emotional connection that that Mark spoke about earlier. And emotional connection doesn't just only sit with the customer in terms of the happiness that they derive from the experience they've had, but there's a level of satisfaction there's a peace of mind, and especially in financial services, trust. If I'm going to hand my money over to you and I'm going to trust you to tell me that you can build to R1 billion in 5 days, well, there's got to be some level of trust between all of us. But that's from a customer experience. But we should never forget that there's a person on the other end, whether it's behind the technology and so forth, who's delivering it, and that's the employee, you and I inside an organization. And part of it is that, you know, when you've done a good job, you've got that swag when you walk in, like, I did my job. I'm proud, I'm empowered, you know, I know my space, I'm doing it, so nobody question that. And I'm respected, yeah, y'all can see me, we're on the same level. And there's happiness for me as an employee. And sometimes we tend to forget that it's important for this person who's delivering it has to have the same feeling as the person who they're delivering it to. And this is where then we say, when we put out a brand as marketers, we set an expectation. If I've told myself that I'm going to walk into Follow, which is these wonderful, beautiful handbags, when I walk in, I've got to feel like I'm a queen through and through. Whether I have 5 rands to spend, which will happen, or I have 5,000 rand, and it will probably happen, but I expect that I'm treated as equally as the next person who walks through their doors and gets that particular experience. So as marketers, whenever we put out a brand, we've got to know that everybody's ready internally to deliver exactly what we put out there. And that's where the expectation in terms of what we say and what happens. I know when we work, you know, when you're getting towards the 16th of December, like when it's like 2:45, there's that thing where you can just see it, you can just see the pina colada. You can feel the sand physically, even though you know it's still an 8-hour drive. Like you see yourself in a play, yes, let me play, let me get into my holiday. Kids, enjoy granny and grandpa. You see it physically, you can feel it, you can actually touch it, but just still at your desk at that time. However, sometimes the experience might not add up to what really happened. And this was an actual cruise on the Norwegian line cruise that actually left Miami, and it was a 15-day cruise, right? People have saved some good pennies for this wonderful cruise. And it didn't work out as per what they saw and what they believed it stands for, but it played out completely differently. Somehow somebody, and this is where we talk about root cause analysis of who made a decision. Somebody's decided that maintenance work should happen on this cruise line ship with customers in it. And we're not talking about a small thing of an artwork must be paneled onto a wall, but we're talking about areas of kind of, sorry, bingo ain't happening today. No, there's no champagne bar happening today, but it's connect, and you get to a point where you're so frustrated. And I actually want to read to you some of the portion of what happened. Midway through the cruise, the passengers had grown so angry that a meeting was organized on the observation bar, which quickly became unruly. About 500 people gathered to confront the captain with their complaints and demand compensation. People started yelling the various things that had happened to them, whether it was the fumes in the hallway, whether it was the dust in people's eyes, whether it was the inconvenience of having various parts of the ship closed, or whether it was just the lack of ownership, of taking responsibility for the decision that was made to close a lot of the ship. Well, the captain stormed out, and that added to the passengers' frustration. So, I mean, we're talking about a brand that's over 50 years old. They're seen as the innovators in the cruise business, of how, you know, cruises are not based on you have to eat at 8 and 12, they broke that. So they're innovators, and what happened? Who took a decision that maybe they didn't think out and the impact that it had in the ecosystem? So sometimes we forget that there are people who make decisions that impact, but it has not been thought through. So I think for me, customer experience is a lot about what you feel. It's the physical of what we do, and it's also the thinking as well. And that's why I think when you see Spogile's presentation, she talks about the actual steps that are followed from a kind of perspective of the right process to follow to get your customer experience implemented. But customer experience actually just starts on a daily basis with each of us. And part of that is what I promise when my daughter says Happy Meal, and I'm like, it's not Saturday yet, but we've got experience of 4-year-old, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yes, that's the word, Saturday. When Saturday arrives, she keeps on saying, it's a Saturday. I'm like, yes, it's Saturday. Then I've got to deliver on that promise. I've got to deliver on the Happy Meal, and she's the happiest 4-year-old. So at the end of the day, it's as simple as that. You say you're going to do something, then quite frankly, please deliver upon it at the end of the day. So for me, it's also like, it's like a cake, but there are many other factors that add to it. The brand that, yes, has been built and is put out into market. Number 2, culture. when I walk into an organization, there's a certain culture I believe in and I grew up with, and an organization has already set up its culture, and we need to match and be aligned on that. Thirdly, my behaviors. My behaviors as an individual, and when I walk into an organization, there's certain behaviors that an organization is trying to nurture and drive within the organization. Number 4, value system. My value system, from whatever it is, integrity and so forth, has to be aligned with what the organization's value system is all about. And the end goal is also just the shared vision. You know, at companies like Discovery, we constantly, first thing when we present, we're here to make people healthier. So you always think, does it talk back to the product? Does it talk back to the financial systems we're using? Does it talk back to what we do on the front line? And if it be, how can we help you? Do you know that the brief, we're now still there, brand director, Derek, he used to go through every brief before we went to the ad agency, because they did question and say, this doesn't talk to our brand promise. Please send it back to your product teams, or you as the marketing team need to rethink what you're trying to brief the ad agency. That is true to the core, but internally is practice before it goes outside. And that for me is some of the things that actually add up to customer experience and everything else that my colleagues have also shared. And in terms of just the one stat, and I love this company, and Mark will talk about it later, but I think the key thing that we need to keep in mind is that when you practice good customer experience and really deliver on it, you're going to have a retention of a higher share of wallet at the end of the day. You've got consumers who are much highly likely to purchase your product, especially when we get into organizations where we're cross-selling. I sell car insurance, my colleague sells funeral plans, my other colleague sells medical healthcare. There's a high propensity for me to say, yes, I definitely would buy funeral from you guys. I've had a good experience, so I'll go outside anyway. And much likelier to spread word of mouth amongst other people and tell them about my experience. You know, there's always like, do I trust this company? I don't know who they are. Someone says, no, I've had a good experience. I'm like, oh, well, if you've had a good experience, why wouldn't I? Maybe go for it. And this thing moves me into kind of like my hints and tips. You know, the simple things that we can try and do as marketers tomorrow when we get into an organization to try and implement, to start driving on a basic level of customer experience. First one, it all starts inside. It starts at home, engaged employees. How do we create this authentic internal brand and employee experience? And for me, it starts from the first day. So remember that when you're applying for a job, you have a certain expectation and perception around a company before you've even walked in. You go through your interview, you're all testing each other out, interrogating, you all think you're on the same page. You get the job, you are like, oh, I'm there. And then you get in first day, and it's like, whoa, we don't have a computer today. Nobody's introducing me to anybody. I can only drink so much coffee. Was that the founder? Did you just walk by? I don't know. Yeah, that's my experience. Or you could be the person who, when you walked in, your computer's ready. Everything is set up, you've got access to all systems. There's a little booklet that tells you a little bit about the organization. You've got a schedule for the week. Hi, we've organized for you to go for immersion for 3 days where you're going to learn about everything. You've got meetings set up. Somebody has sat down and said, here are the key stakeholders internally whom we'd like you to meet and just get a bit of an understanding. So it's important for you as the employee to get an experience internally before you are expected to go out and deliver experience of this company. So we need to think carefully, and as marketers, our role is, it's not an HR division and someone running around calling themselves internal brand manager. All of us as marketers are responsible for delivering the internal experience for each and every human being who walks in, which we are going to take and put out into the market. The second one, be customer obsessed. And I think before being customer obsessed is you are a customer, you're a consumer. Before you are the IT head, before you are the marketing head, you're a consumer. You also go shop at the grocery. You also buy insurance online. I mean, somehow we sometimes forget this when we get into a meeting room, and now we've gone deep dive, and someone says, but guys, don't you also buy these products? So why would we try and build it like this if that's not how we, as individuals in this room, would even bother to walk down that particular pathway? So please, can we just remember, we're all consumers. We should learn to put on our consumer hat and walk ourselves through that process and say, nah, this doesn't work. Finance, tell us what are your restrictions with this finance system so that we can find a way to be accommodated in terms of what we want to drive as a product team or as an ops team and so forth. And we need to learn to be very open-minded, but be a consumer first before anything else. And I think sometimes we get to a point where we just put consumers out there, they us and them. Hello, we're all one thing. And why we put on this we're consumer first is because we're able to connect and walk that pathway that consumers walk through at the end of the day. And that reminds us for an organization to be human beings. And that leads me, humanity rules always. Humanity rules always. Anything and everything, whether it's AI, IR, whether you're the deputy president still figuring out if you're in stage 1 or 4 of the industrial matters. Guys, he was being frank. He's a human being. For him, it's just right now we need to get jobs for people. So what should I do? Okay? Humanity rules always, and humanity starts with simple things that we are taught in the households we all come from. Good morning, how are you? How can I help you? That's a basic. You don't need to pay someone, you don't need to train someone, because we all are brought up with these basic values that we should be bringing into organizations. And humanity, for me, they get to a point where technology and humanity start to fight, where they should complement and work together. This is a problem I have. We're walking into wonderful, beautiful receptions, and as you get there looking forward to seeing us smile at you, there's a hand that's pointing at this iPad. And you're like, and you try to go left and right, and the person is doing that. Just like, I'm looking forward to the, and it's sign in, and then you do this wonderful essay, you fill out everything minus your, I don't know, bra size, panty size, whatever. But they've got all the information, and you press sign in, and then there's a, I'm sure John is gonna come just now. Like, okay, so now it's gonna phone John. Should I reach out to him on another piece of communication? And then you sit down and you tell him, no, just wait. And then 10 minutes later, like, let me phone John for you. So therefore, then, you know, I don't know what it is about this thing. Is it a security? Is it a convenience? Is it? But my problem is that it's killed the experience I expect, well, I'm used to having when I walk into organization, because that human being, from the security guard to your receptionist, is the first people who deliver your brand to me. And now you've killed it, and quite frankly, if I want to deal with Apple, I can go to the Apple store. Why must I have it inside your reception, killing this wonderful experience? And this is where then there's a disconnect between what your brand stands for and what you are delivering. Right, here's this other one, this chatbot that knows everything, but it gets to a point when at 2 a.m. there's no meter behind the chatbot to help push it forward. So Mary's asking yet again, how does Opt-in AI work? Hello? How does Opt-in AI work? Are you going to respond to my question? Hello? Okay, so there's a point where, as much as technology is supposed to be an enabler to help consumers in terms of convenience and so forth, we have to be careful at how far technology on its own running is able to engage with consumers, and where does it start to yet again disconnect the consumer, and you're like, freaking hell, let me just pick up the phone, and then there's 33 options before you actually get anything. So by that time, you're like, you know, it's good. They don't want me to talk to them. It's fine. Let me go to Twitter, because someone will talk to me on Twitter without fail at 3 or 4 in the morning. So that is what happens, guys. And then my big one is really about people who are brand ambassadors, who are brand advocates inside your business. Nurture them, engage them, identify them. They're the people who, whether they've been there for 18 years or 8 months, they are psycho about your brand. They love it. And why wouldn't you utilize them as an extension of your marketing department to help you deliver and manage what you need to deliver on the ground? Because that is where we talk about a village creates a culture. Culture doesn't stand by itself in people. A company that does it well, when I worked at Harlard, they had this thing called the Brand Rangers program. And whether you're in Flagstaff or Cape Town, anybody, so we open a competition up, or rather the program, and people motivate of why they should be considered as a brand ambassador as part of the program. Once people have been elected, they get to come to Joburg and spend 3-4 days on what I'll call a full, hectic brand immersion, from how our fonts are constructed, so that the designers actually sit and explain to them how fonts are constructed, how heat presses are done, and they actually go to an actual printer who shows them and why it has to be respected. So basically they end up owning the CI and what the brand lives and breathes, so that when someone says, oh, I'm busy trying to do a presentation and I'm doing this, it's like, let me help you, this is the right way to treat our brand. Or, oh, you want to know a bit about what's happened in the past 2 years with our brand, well, let me take you through that. So that's a program that's actually run by Harlard right now. And then we have these moments, and we sing around the bride, wonderful. And then there's a, oh, this company is irritating me. You're like, oh, no, this is not working. I will not say it. And you know, your friend is like, and you're like, and you're thinking, This one is going on about in car insurance, and I work in the funeral side of the business in this division, and I have no freaking clue. I can't help them. I'm not going to mention which company I work for. Well, this is where we've got to help employees. And when I worked at Discovery, they did something so cool where essentially it was, guys, we cannot tolerate employees not helping people. Whether you're sitting at the bride or you're at a breakfast or you attended a conference and someone mentions something about our country, let us help empower you. And basically they added a functionality on the app and on our intranet sites where as an employee I could put your details as the customer who's got a bit of a complaint, your ID number, capture a bit of what it is that you're complaining about, submitted, and it goes into what I'll call a work queue. And immediately I get a reference number and I get told that Zanele who's captured it to say, okay, we've contacted the client, we've resolved it, this is closed. And that basically empowered staff because there was a pushback from staff of, how am I supposed to help? I want to help, but I can't help. I have nothing to do with insurance, guys. I'm trying to deal with medical aid. I have nothing. I don't know what car insurance does. And that for me was one of the most brilliant things I've seen being done by any company. Then, more importantly, touch points. Each and every touch point is equally important. And I say this with all due respect. I know sometimes maybe finance is releasing SMSs at 3 in the morning and marketing has not seen anything, and then you're wondering why people are saying, these guys are so patronizing, you're so rude. And you're thinking, why would you say that? And then you see how this has been written. And that person who wrote it didn't understand that there's a tone, there's a personality that when we write, we put it forward. And this for me is really important in terms of those are the things that have the biggest impact in the long run. Whatever we put down on paper, whatever we hang up in a shop, the way we conduct ourselves in an environment where customers coming in, everything is important in terms of touch points. Now here's a little bit of a situation I had when I went to New Metro. I thought, well, I'm leaving up at work a little bit early, just a little bit. And I'm going to watch a movie because I haven't watched one in however many years at the cinema. And I thought, let me go through self-service. This is excellent. I've got my loyalty card with Momentum. And as I started plugging in and I put in things and it keeps on giving me an error, there's a gentleman behind the thing saying, Sissy, that actually means this, you must put that. I'm like, no, Kuti, there's a problem. Self-service, me and the machine. We're threesome in this particular place. He's like, yeah, but I'm telling you because that's why you're going to keep on getting the errors. Spotlight, nobody at head office thought of talking to the guys who are actually on the ground, who work with consumers on a daily basis, of them test driving it and saying, if it works like this, then everybody will be fine. And he's like, well, nobody spoke to me, so I'm trying to help you to get to the next point so that you can get your ticket. And I thought, why is it we have a habit of ignoring people who are at the most critical touch points? We think we've got it figured out when we're at head office, where just a little bit of time spent engaging with people and getting it right so that, yes, that is a proper self-service express, walk in, walk out. And then this is my final thing for the day.
Last year, Telco gave millions of people a new way to say hello. This year, expect a little more from us.
I think for me, my aspiration is that I have my clients screaming from the other side of the building, then I've done my thing. And I think if you think of the technician who probably put in that phone, the joy and happiness they felt in their mind. So my last thing is make the quality of the customer experience you provide as real as the product that you sell, and use the Coke advert and the Coke experience as your kind of guiding light. And please, I do so many sweet words that want great customer experience. Thank you.